Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence and welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today. It really means a lot to me. So here we have a fragrance that actually came out back in 2000, and of course I'm referencing the original Kenzo flower. That's a fragrance that was composed by Alberto Morillas, who is one of the most accomplished perfumers out there. Here we have the Eau De Toilette counterpart to that. It has been flankered so many times, the original that is, but in this year, 2021, we have the Eau De Toilette counterpart to Kenzo flower, and this one is just called Kenzo Flower Eau De Toilette. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this brand new fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review or perfume review of this brand new fragrance by Kenzo called Kenzo Flower Eau De Toilette 2021 release, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews here on YouTube, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxing, special guests, and more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. 62% of my viewers are not subscribed to this channel. If you could just click that red button down below, it would mean so much to me. And of course, while you're at it, make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. So I never owned the original Kenzo flower, but my mother did. And so I remember smelling it on her quite a bit. It always had a pleasant aroma. And the one thing that I remember about it, it was a very violet dominant composition. Now, looking at the note breakdown for this 2021 release, also made by Alberto Morillas, so I always kind of find that fascinating when you have a perfumer create a fragrance and then decades later, kind of like a reinterpretation of that fragrance. This one actually contains no violet in here, but it does have damask rose, which is known as the king of flowers. It has a very sort of lemony appeal to it. There is lemon and ginger in the opening, a little bit of lychee, which is kind of like this unconventional fruity ingredient that I have actually seen being used in a lot of fragrances. Delina by Parfum de Marly comes to mind. Also Fleur Narcotique by Ex Nihilo. And in the base, we have sort of Madagascan vanilla and musk and patchouli and some of those warm amber tones. And so I'm excited to tell you what this fragrance reminds me of, what I think of the smell, how closely I would compare it to the original, which I'm quite familiar with, and also if this does remind me of any other fragrances, perhaps outside of the Kenzo library. But let's start things off with the presentation. So as soon as you spray this, you are going to get that bright lemon. Now I know in the opening there's actually a combination of two different citrus fruits. You have the mandarin orange and you have the lemon, but I think it's really the rose, that damask rose, that gives off that fresh lemony appeal that works in conjunction with the lemon in the opening to really give this more of a lemony vibe as opposed to like an orangey vibe. And so I am definitely getting the lemon in the opening. I know ginger is also an ingredient in the opening as well. I really can't say I get a whole lot of ginger, and ginger has a very distinct smell to it, and I'm not getting a whole lot of that in this fragrance, but I am getting a bit of that lemon in the opening, which is really creating this freshness in that first chapter of the composition, if you will. And being as though this is an Eau De Toilette, I think sometimes we'll have this notion that this is going to be a brighter, fresher interpretation of the original. To be honest with you, I think the similarity to the original is only like 25 to 30%. This is a very different fragrance. I can see how it has a nod or it pays homage to the original, but this is a very different composition. You really don't have that violet note that was found in the original. So this one kind of goes in a much different direction with the rose, and it's very dewy. It's very transparent and diaphanous. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that dewy nature of like Delina La Rosée by Parfum de Marly. And so when you open up with this sort of green, citrusy, lemony vibe, I think that kind of steals the spotlight initially, but it's a very short chapter of the overall composition. And so it's not gonna last for more than like 5 minutes or something like that. And then you're left with like this musky rose fragrance. I was trying to think about some of the other ingredients in here like the mimosa. And mimosa to me has nuances of almond flower. There's a fragrance by the House of Oud that is very heavy on the mimosa, and I know what it smells like, and I'm not getting that from this fragrance. And also in terms of the chamomile that's in here, I'm expecting it to smell like a little herbal, a little aromatic. I'm not getting a whole lot of that in here either. And one fragrance that doesn't contain chamomile but actually reminds me a lot of chamomile is Habdan by Parfums de Marly, and that's one of the reasons why I love that fragrance. I've already referenced like 2 Parfums de Marly fragrances today, but so it opens up with this bright lemon, kind of very quickly segues into this lemony and transparent rose, and then in the base you have this clean musk. Now online, I also saw a few people comparing this one to Noah by Cacharel, an Olivier Cresp composition, and I actually own that too. I almost reviewed that one, but being as though it's quite a number of years old, I decided not to. Maybe there wouldn't be as much interest for that, but that one is a very sort of jasmine, lily of the valley coffee type of a fragrance from what I remember. It has some amber tones in the base as well, and I can definitely pick up on that connection, and so I think that that's a connection very well made. But this one has a very different note breakdown, but there is something kind of warm, ambery about this in the base. I know it has Madagascan vanilla. It also has patchouli, a touch of amber if I'm not mistaken, but this is really more about that musky, clean, slightly lemony and transparent rose that you're gonna get in here. The lychee is not too strong, the mimosa is not too strong, the chamomile is not too strong. And so I think that this fragrance comes across smelling very compressed. And so I don't think anybody would be purchasing this fragrance because they like any one particular note from the note breakdown, because I don't think any one particular note really stands out too strongly in the fragrance. Like for example, if you were interested in like a rose dominant fragrance, one can easily say maybe Lipstick Rose by Frederic Malle, or Moschino Toy Boy, or Cartier's Declaration d'un Soir. Like these are all really heavy on the rose. Even when it comes to lychee, the original Delina by Parfums de Marly has a lot of lychee, and I think I've even saw online Very Good Girl by Carolina Herrera, the new fragrance coming out very soon, which is already out in Europe. That one has a very strong lychee note in it as well, also composed by Quentin Biche. And so if you're looking for a fragrance that really embodies any one of the notes in this fragrance, I wouldn't purchase this fragrance to be the benchmark example of that note, just because every note I think has a pretty even balance in this fragrance, and it does come across smelling rather compressed as opposed to expanded. Maybe I'll just let my bottle sit and macerate a little bit longer, maybe get some of the oxygen into the bottle, see if it really gets a bit stronger in the months to come. But I personally like it. I think it's a very gentle, very pleasant, calm sort of a fragrance, a little bit on the floral side, very mild nuances of rose. And so if you're not looking for something ultra loud or robust, then I think this would be perfect for you. And also if you really liked the violet of the original Kenzo flower from 2000, just keep in mind that this one is going to smell quite different to that. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, this does embody a DNA that I've smelled before, namely in some other fragrances that I already own, but I think the overall smell is very pleasant. I think this will appeal to a lot of people. I think if you're a fan of Kenzo and you're interested in checking out what they recently released, I think you might really enjoy this brighter, fresher interpretation of a classic. In terms of the longevity for this fragrance, you can expect to get about 6 to 7 hours on your skin. The projection was great for the first hour of application, and then it did start to sit kind of close to the skin around that 4-hour mark. And so you might want to reapply at that 4 to 5 hour mark, depending on how noticed you want to be when you wear your fragrance, right? Most people wear fragrance for other people to notice them, right? It's a part of your olfactory accessory. And so, or it is an olfactory accessory, I should say. In terms of the versatility for this one, very versatile. I can see people really appreciating this one when the weather is a little bit hotter. I think this one gives off a bit of a casual vibe, although I can see how one would choose to wear this one formally. It's not as bright or playful as like an Angel Ice Star by Mugler or an Escada fragrance or something like that. So you can wear this one formally as well, no doubt. And I think women of any age can really appreciate this one. If you're a man who likes floral rose-based fragrances, check this one out as well. These are just recommendations. Wear what you want, wear what you love, and what makes you happy. And the presentation, I always love the presentation of a lot of Kenzo fragrances. And this is one of the more iconic ones on the market. And so my final verdict on this fragrance is, if you are a fan of floral fragrances, specifically ones with rose in them, and you want something just very bright, clean, transparent, easy to wear, giving off a casual vibe, definitely check this one out the next time that you are in Macy's. That's actually where I purchased this one, or I should say I purchased it online from Macy's, so this was effectively a blind buy for me, but I'm happy to have it in my collection. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, mostly ladies this time, I think. That was my fragrance review of the brand new Kenzo Flower Eau De Toilette, the 2021 release. If you own or have tried this fragrance or any fragrance by Kenzo, leave a comment down below. I always love the interaction. Also, if you're new to this channel and you took something of value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Once again, all you have to do is click on that red button down below. And while you're at it, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It would mean a lot to me. Thanks again for watching. Love you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye.